Welcome to the mad planet called Earth. We are in the middle of escalation in Iran, despite everyone, including me and some other smart people who are market observers, betting on Taco, on Trump always chickens out, or for my MAGA friends, Tapa. I invented a new word to be more considerate for the psychology of everyone who loves Trump. Tapa, Trump always pivots away. So it's not chickening out, it's pivoting away. We were all betting on this. It's not happening for some reason. And if you think that's great, no, it's extremely bad. Taco and Tapa were actually great qualities of Trump, showing that he can play poker out of the deal and then withdraw, so we could all rely on him not being nuts. Now, people like me and everyone who was betting on this get a little concerned. And then Netanyahu comes back from the dead. People said he was dead. Maybe he's not dead. And he's saying Iran is being decimated, but now we need boots on the ground. Of course, American boots, obviously. And the way this is going, I would have said, sure, Netanyahu, sure. Of course, the United States will be so dumb to send their young men and women into some crazy Iranian trap. But at this point, I have given up. Who knows? Maybe Trump says that's an amazing idea, that's introduce the draft and murder 1 million Americans. It's absolutely in the cards, even though it would be completely deranged. But I am not so sure anymore what's going to happen, because the situation seems a little under control. Out of control, not under control. Okay, but this video is only tangentially about this craziness. It is about something else. It is about Bitcoin and MicroStrategy, because in this crazy situation, we have to look at the most interesting assets in the market, because this is probably a buying opportunity. When is it a buying opportunity? That's exactly what we are going to discuss now. I covered Tesla very recently, today actually. So let's look at the crypto space in MicroStrategy and start with the NASDAQ. On the NASDAQ, what you know, since 6 months we have been going sideways. The NASDAQ is very important for crypto. It is also very important for MicroStrategy. And of course for all other AGI stocks. But now we're not just going sideways. With the escalation in Iran and the disappointment of all the analysts who know something about geostrategy like me, and we all said we are betting on Taco, we are betting on Trump chickening out or pivoting away, whatever words you like more. Now we are getting all a little concerned and saying maybe Trump this time is messing it up in a very big way, because the time to Taco is a little over at this point. Now he can still pull out. I think he's desperately trying to do so probably, but it's not happening. And it should have happened already. I predicted it. It's not happening. That is very scary, not just for me, but for the entire market. And that is why you see here, now the market is actually getting jittery. Here was the last time chickening out would have been on strategy. Now it's like, dude, what are you doing? Wasn't the plan to pull out? Wasn't the plan to make this short? Because if you don't make it short, yeah, there will be boots on the ground. There will be blood. There will be trillions spent. This will be the greatest disaster ever, and everyone knows it, because you don't need to be a rocket scientist for that. You don't need to be Elon Musk to say that. So now we're getting concerned, because even if there is a Taco coming, it's late. There's a lot of damage being done. And that now leads potentially to a market slide. And if this doesn't, improve, and now they're starting to bomb the oil fields of each other and everything, then we might see a little market crash. But here's the good news. We have to understand why markets crash. Markets crash mostly in times like this, in super bullish times where we have underlying transformation of Earth, underlying AGI explosion, a crypto explosion, all kinds of things. This little war, even if it totally escalates, unless it becomes a nuclear war, I hope not. But the odds that this does not become a nuclear war and it's just going to be a horrible disaster is not too bad for the actual markets when you think about it. Yeah, the market's going to crash, but fundamentally nothing changes, which means the market is then going to rally, because it has to get back where it actually belongs. And when you look at AGI, here you see what's happening. Here's OpenAI starting point, right? 2023, and the market has been on a total run. And you see this line, I always draw this line. We should be here, right? Just draw the line. You don't need to be a technical stock alchemist to do this. You just show Like, look, if the fundamentals keep improving like this, like they do, like with NVDA, like with Robinhood, with Micron Technologies, with Google, this should keep going up because it's driven by cash flows, driven by crazy revenue growth. So they should be going up. At the same time, we know money printing will continue for many, many complicated reasons, which is also bullish for crypto. Crypto is in a bullish situation, in my opinion. Now we are getting to the actual thing here. Why does it show me the wrong currency? Crypto, by the way, great recovery today. But crypto, which is all that matters for MicroStrategy, and we get there in a second, we understand where we are. Here is the 5-year chart, here's the 1-year chart. We saw a crazy rally that peaked here in October 6th at 123,000, amazing rally all the way from down here nearly a year ago, April 9th, 75,000, and we have been going sideways since then, but we have seen a giant rally. Then we have seen a great blow up in October, end of October, and then that crash. This wiped out a lot of leverage in the market. You know all about it. You can watch Tom Lee. He did a very good summary on the crypto blowout. And then we saw this crash of Ether, of Bitcoin, and some other cryptos. Now with crypto, we have to be always cautious to not overdo the analysis because these are not companies with cash flows. Of course, these are digital assets, so a little harder to predict. But what we have seen is there is a technical floor around the 60,000 that has been building for a long time, since the end of 2024, basically, or the beginning of 2024, sorry, and going on for 9 months sideways. So it is a pretty strong established floor around the 60,000. Then we saw this crazy run up. Now we are dropping back down. And what we saw in the last 6 months is that here, February 6th was this very bad situation, and then it got even a little worse February 24th. But I think here it dipped to 60,000 nearly very briefly. Since then, we have seen a bottom building. Now, we have to take a step back and look at the fundamentals. On the fundamental side, both on Ethereum, we see massive adoption. We see massive institutional adoption. The banking system is building more and more on Ethereum as the central rails of the future. On the Bitcoin side, we see increased institutional adoption. In the middle of that slide down, since here, we see massive institutional adoption while Bitcoin is sliding down because there's a massive deleveraging going on the consumer side. And that has now led to the situation, and I like the setup. I like the setup because my take on this is, if you see the fundamentals improving like this on Ether and on Bitcoin, like crazy improvement in fundamentals, while it's sliding like crazy and then you see a bottoming out, that is a situation I like. And a lot of crypto experts, I'm not even a crypto expert, I don't believe in crypto experts, they are pointing to all their crazy cycles and saying, oh, blah, 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 the cycle and historically. I don't believe in any of these things, cycles and historic stuff, because crypto is undergoing a huge transformation. So we need to be smart and look with a fresh take on to that asset class. Understand that the two leaders, Ether and Bitcoin, are in their own bucket. Maybe Solana, you can put it with them in there, like the blue chips. And what is happening here is a new situation, in my opinion. And that situation is a huge rotation from consumer into institutional. This blow up in the slide, no one knows exactly why this is happening, but there was a deleveraging event. There was a blow up, and that needs to get out of the system. But looking at the chart, maybe we are through. There is a very reasonable chance we are through with the deleveraging now. And if you see how Bitcoin has behaved throughout this crisis, what is that? Google Finance. If you look through the crisis, here is the crisis. Look at this. It just went up. Bitcoin went up, while, of course, the markets did not go up. If you look at the same period here, the market has not gone up. The market has gone down from 22,748 NASDAQ, 700 points down. So very significantly. So that is very interesting. I think this is a bullish sign. It is a bullish sign. So what am I doing? In the Pioneer Alpha portfolio, what I am doing is actually taking on a MicroStrategy position. Why MicroStrategy? Because MicroStrategy is actually in a pretty attractive situation. I can show you more here. MicroStrategy, as you probably know, is the treasury company that is built only around Bitcoin at Bitcoin Holdings. Here you see MicroStrategy. I'm not going to go into all the complexities, but you see the MNAV, the most important number of MicroStrategy. This is a company that basically buys Bitcoins and does nothing else, really nothing else. It has currently 761,000 Bitcoin. It has a Bitcoin reserve of $53 billion. So if the Bitcoin would be sold at the current price, it would be $53 billion worth. The market cap is 47 billion, right? So it is actually below the reserve, but there are some other assets and it has some, leverage and all kinds of stuff. It has 8 billion in debt. So here you see the enterprise value, and here you see the MNAV that basically takes this all into consideration and tells us, taking all these components into consideration, MicroStrategy is currently trading at 1.19 times its actual reserve. Okay, so that is very interesting. And Michael Saylor, the guy who leads this, decided to basically raise some more capital, most of it through MicroStrategy, through the common shares, and buy more Bitcoin very recently over the last few days. So he's bullish, and of course, easy strategy, right? If you can basically sell your stocks at 1.2, 1.19, buy assets, and then your stock goes up by more, you understand. You're buying it for 1, but you're getting 1.19 stock price increase for it. So that's a little crazy. And historically, MNAV was much higher. Then it was up to 1.6 or something recently. And that means the stock is kind of an attractive play on Bitcoin. You have to understand, you're betting on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes down, this thing is going down. But if Bitcoin goes up, this thing is likely going to go up more. And if Bitcoin goes up a lot, this goes up exponentially a lot, because MNAV is going to go and expand. So if Bitcoin goes up 10%, this thing is going to go up more than 10% because it's kind of leveraged a little bit in the MNAV, not leveraged, but you understand, it gets a premium. But there's an additional aspect to it that it will likely go up even more because the MNAV is going to expand the premium the market pays if everyone gets bullish again, because then they're going to jump on MicroStrategy. And you can look at this, look at how high this thing was. Crazy. 434. Recent as July 11th, 2025, whatever, 9 months ago. And I like the setup because MicroStrategy is developing into the primary vehicle for the markets to buy Bitcoin for everyone who's not spot holder, who can't buy Bitcoin directly. What am I doing? Well, you know my favorite strategy. I don't have a huge exposure. It's still a very small position. I'm now taking on in MicroStrategy at 2 Pioneer Alpha. My big fat position is Tesla. I've reduced a little bit my NVDA position, but that's the second largest position, very significant. I have Robinhood. Robinhood is amazing, in my opinion. It's still an absolute steal. And now I'm adding MicroStrategy to it. Of course, I do it in my preferred way, especially if I have a small position with short in the money puts or at the money puts. That gives me a little bit more buffer. I think I'm at 141 or 142 put strike price. I think 2 weeks out, it gives me a little bit of premium. So I have more buffer. And if things change and things go up a lot, I can still adjust that position, go a little deeper in the money to have more of a synthetic real stock position there. But in these volatile times, I like to have my buffer in case something goes wrong and the Iran situation further escalates. But let's forget Iran. Let's look at crypto. Let's understand that we are in a potentially very bullish setup, in my opinion, on the crypto side of things. I do think we're in a good situation. I have a separate crypto portfolio, by the way, that's not mixed up for complicated reasons. And I have significant exposure there. And I am not afraid. I am, of course, a long-term holder. So if this thing would go down to 50,000, which I hope it doesn't, I don't care too much. I believe in Bitcoin. I believe even more in Ethereum. That's a whole different video. Why I believe in Ethereum much more than in a Solana. Not because I think the tech is bad of Solana, but because it's all about adoption, network effects, and trust with the bankers on that side. But when it comes to Bitcoin, there's not even competition. Bitcoin is the ultimate store of value. Of course, gold is a little bit of a competitor, but that's also very bullish, in my opinion, what's happening to gold for Bitcoin. And so I do think we are building a nice base. We are building actually a lot of upside potential. Look at the action we see here. And MicroStrategy is a very easy way to get exposure. So let's see what happens. I added it and I will keep you guys updated. This is a strategic move. I think Bitcoin strategically is a long-term thing here. And I do not think the bear cycle will hold up very long this time. Let's see what happens. Very short term, of course, we have tactical issues with the Iran situation, but I do not think that will hold back Bitcoin for too long and MicroStrategy. I hope that was interesting. Let's take a final look at this one, strategy.com. You can look it up yourself. I hope that was interesting and see you tomorrow.